Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Golden Spotlight. We are here in a different location at the moment due to maintenance, but we got a nice spacious room to pre-record this interview. So at this time, I'd like my guests to please introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Irene Sotelo, one of the co-founders of Rising Scholars, student here.
My name is Joe Luis Hernandez, one of the co-founders of Rising Scholars, a graduate student here in Long Beach.
Great, great. So one of the things I like to do when I have my guests is, share their story from the beginning. Tell us about life growing up, life in public school and stuff like that.
Okay, mine goes way back. I'm a lot older than you guys. I didn't have too much of education. I dropped out in 7th grade. That was because I lost my mother at a young age. I was 11, and I'm the oldest of 5 children, so I had to stay back and take care of my brothers and sisters, which the twins were only 9 months old. So I dropped out in 7th grade. I didn't continue back to school until I was 18. That my last semester, or last year in high school, took the GED and never went back until now. I got married for 35 years, and decided to go back to school after I raised my children. And I went to community college, started liking how my classes were going, getting those first A's was an accomplishment for me, and I continued since. And I've graduated with honors in my community college. Now I'm here at Cal State Long Beach with honors, and I just got recently accepted into the social work department, which I'm going to do now. Hopefully I'll graduate there with honors.
Nice. So my name is Joe Luis Hernandez, and I grew up all over Los Angeles. I grew up in Southgate primarily, Hill Gardens, Watts for a couple of years, El Centro, El Sereno, and so I traveled to a lot of different high schools, a lot of different middle schools, and I think by the time I was in 9th grade I had already been in 9 different schools. And so for me, school always wasn't really anything important. It was just a place that I had to go, where I could go kick it with my homies. And even I found myself in my last years of high school, it was just a place to go get drugs and a place to go get beer. And that's the only reason I went to school. I dropped out of high school twice. I finished in home studies. I was incarcerated for the first time when I was 19, and then for possession of a loaded weapon, and then I got reincarcerated again about 6 or 7 months after I was released for the first time. And in that period, I finished high school from home studies. I signed up to go to community college when I was 21, and then I kind of convinced myself that I still didn't like school. And so I dropped out again. I didn't go back to school until I was 28. And I went to a community college once again. And then, but what I found this time was different. Is I found support from people. I was a part of the OPS. I was part of the TRIO, Student Support Services programs. I found a mentor, people who believed in me. I went to school. It wasn't because I wanted to go to school and I thought school was going to do anything great, but it was like the last house on the block for me. And now I transferred from Long Beach. I didn't have honors because I'm not a high achiever. I just did enough to get a B. I tell all my students I shoot for B's. And then when I get A's, I get surprised. And those are happy surprises. But I transferred from Mount Sac. I went to Cal State LA. I got a bachelor's in rehabilitational services, and now I'm currently finishing up my 2nd year of my master's program here at Long Beach in counseling and student development and higher education.
Cool. So tell us, how did you realize, what was the major you wanted, what career you wanted?
Do you want to go first, or?
I started as criminal justice. Well, first because I've been incarcerated, and having that felony limits you on what you could go for. And I didn't know that. I knew some of it, but I didn't know that much until I got to community college. I tried to go for real estate, and they told me I would never be able to get a license because they won't be able to. When you have a felony, you're not able to get certain licenses or certificates to be involved. So it was hard figuring out what to do. So I took my first criminal justice class, and just so happened I knew a lot of the court system because of my own experience, and I started getting A's in those classes. Those are the classes that made me motivated. So I tried to figure out going for probation. At the time when I started, the laws weren't as strict, but by the time I got here, I was still gonna be, to work with probation, but higher up. And then I found out the laws changed a lot to where it been really hard for me to even get in the door. So I changed it to sociology major, but I had still criminal justice minor. And so sociology, there's a bigger field. It's a much broader, but I still have criminal justice, a lot that I learned. So that's when I decided I'm gonna help those with the population who are getting out of prison, getting out of jails, teach them the laws that I learned, the new laws that I learned, and keep them updated and help the ones who don't understand what they're going through when they're going through their courtrooms. And that's why I want to work with the population for formerly incarcerated.
So my original time that I went to college, I wanted to be a drug and alcohol counselor because I said I have felonies, so what is it that I'm going to be able to do? And so I was like, forget it, then drug and alcohol counselor seems to be the way that all the people that I knew that were in recovery, that had felonies, were working in it. I was like, all right. But I didn't really like that. And then when I came back to school, I was thinking of being, since I'd been in recovery for a long time and I work with addicts and I help them get clean, I was like, well, I want to do something beyond that. And so I was like, well, I work with the Department of Rehabilitation as a client. Well, then let me see if I could be a counselor at the Department of Rehabilitation. And then the counselor of rehabilitation goes, yeah, our background check only goes back 7 years. And I was like, cool, it's been a while since I was incarcerated. I don't have any new felonies. And so I'll pass a background check. And then while I was in school is where my passion arose for being a counselor at a community college. And it was through my mentor. And she was telling me, man, she goes, you don't know the differences or the impact that you can have with our student populations in community colleges, our low-income, first-generation Latino males that don't see themselves as successful, students that have been incarcerated, students that have been addicted. These students, they don't see themselves on our campuses through our counselors. And I was like, all right, and I told her I'm down. And so that started my trajectory. And then recently, my path has kind of switched over to being interested in administrative work, like a dean, a director, a counselor, because I feel that, this is a plug for Professor Bernal, that we need a seat at that table. That at that table, sometimes when those conversations are being had about the policies that are going to affect us on those campuses, I feel that in order for us to get considered, right, because they're always talking about the low achievement of African American males, the low achievement of Latino males, why our females are not graduating, why our students are dropping. They're never in any conversation is like formerly incarcerated students. And so for us to have a seat at that table would bring our voice into those conversations that are being had where we're very overlooked sometimes.
Speaking of mentors, how is the importance of mentors?
Very important. I think since we've been here, Dr. Bernal has been one of the greatest mentors, and now Brenda Rovo. With their support, the doors that have been opening for us because of them, the letters of recommendation that they give us for when we're applying for something, to me, I think it's the one thing that has opened the doors for me. And when I see those doors open, it makes me want to achieve for, something bigger. And that's why I'm going as far as I can. But that is one. The mentors, even your family support is good. It's really to have that backing you, but the mentors, because James Bernal, he's also formerly incarcerated. And if he could do it, we could do it. Because he's doing pretty good.
I feel mentorship is key. It's a role that I take it to a story of one time that throughout life I've had mentors. And I remember one of the first mentors was my homie's big brother, and he had sent me to the store, I think one day, and I told him, well, I don't have any money, and he goes, why don't you have any money? And then he pulled me to the side, and he pulled out some dope, and then he told me, this is what a 20 weighs, this is what a teener weighs, this is how much this costs, this is how much this costs. And then he gave it to me, and he goes, don't ever be broke again. Right? Like, he taught me how to find success, and he taught me how to support myself, and I feel, for me, mentorship has been that. I have a mentor, her name is Diana Felix, man, that I met when I was in community college. And since I was like in remedial English, she has been telling me that I'm going to write a thesis. And she's been telling me that I can be, this type of person at a community college, and you can do this, Joe, and you can do this, right? And she believed in me, man. She believes in me when I don't believe in myself. And now, what is it? It's about 5-6 years later, I'm getting ready to start my thesis. through her, I've met many other mentors, man. People, if you come to the streets, I can tell you how to get down. I can tell you everything you need to know about the streets, man. But when I'm in higher education and I'm sitting with deans, I don't know how to act. I don't know how to talk. And I think mentorship has been key in learning how to navigate the politics on the campus. And learning how to navigate, man. I used to call a homie of mine when I got into the master's program and I started working professionally and be like, hey, yo, I'm going to meet this dean. How do I dress, bro? And he goes, well, you got to dress nice. And I was like, well, nice for me is some Jordans, some hard 501s, guayabera. And he's like, no, bro, that's not, business casual. I was like, well, what about a street white shirt, right? A nice team white tee. And he's like, no, bro, he goes, you gotta, and he would tell me how you dress, and he would tell me, because I didn't know these things. And I think the importance of mentorship is learning sometimes, right? Or having the time to take the time out to let somebody know, hey man, you know what, this is how you dress, or this is how you talk, or this is how you might want to do this, man. And it gives me the perspective of just learning stuff that I don't know, because this isn't what I was raised, or this isn't what I raised myself to be.
The media and TV sometimes can give misconceptions about, what's life like being locked up and stuff. Like, can you share with our audience, about that?
Well, there's not as many for women. There's shows about women getting locked up. It's usually more about the male. But they don't show the part of what mothers go through, not just being a woman, being a mother to your children. What they go through, the children go through. And what we have to do as mothers to take care of our children from prison. My children were already teenagers. My son was almost an adult when I was in prison. Having to write the letters and hearing what my kids were doing out there, because I wasn't there to guide them, it was heartbreaking. It was hard. It took a lot out of us. And seeing other women who have little ones, or ones who just have a baby and get the baby taken away, they don't show all that part. And the support in there for women is not that strong. Everybody's in there for themselves to get through their time. And that's the part I think media does not, well, as it is, they don't show as many for women, but they don't portray that part. And that's what we're, as me as a woman, trying to get out there, former incarcerated woman trying to get out there to show that we're mothers also behind there. And that's the key part, to show, men are fathers, but usually their children are with the mothers, get left home with the mothers, the majority of them. And when the women get arrested, a lot of the men are not there, because a lot of them are usually single mothers, or the father's in there with them at the same time. So I think that's the key thing that I would like to get out there, the word of.
I think for me, you really can't ask me what kind of stuff was missing, because I was in jail, and since I was 15, that's where I wanted to go, because that's where everybody that was somebody was going. And if you hadn't been to the county, or if you hadn't been to prison, you weren't nobody. And then when you're there, you got to do certain things to get certain stuff, man. And a part of me was when I made it to county, man, it's like I had got accepted into Harvard. And that was my take on it. And I think the media portrays certain things, man, and I can't speak against them, because at that point in time in my life, right, all the stereotypes, all the bad, that's who I was. I think when we look at what we're doing today is trying to refocus the stereotype of they're no good, of they can never do nothing better. Because I've tried to be the worst, and now, I'm just trying to be a good person.
What are the conditions like too, even as far as the food and stuff like that?
It sucks.
Bad. Oh, bad.
I made it to county, and then they told me how good the food was in prison. I was like, just send me to prison.
It's slop. It's like you don't even know what it is sometimes, what you're looking at. The things they call the stuff that's in there is gross. I lost a lot of weight in there from the county. When you get sent to prison, it's a lot better. Well, state has more money. And I hear if you go federal, that's even way better, because they got more money than the state. But the food is bad. Yeah. Sometimes you don't even know what you're eating. The bologna sandwiches, they come in a package, all full of red grease. You don't know what the grease is, it's red, and the bologna looks green with fur on it. That's how bad it is. And it's supposedly good. And that, you get bologna almost every day for lunch.
Bologna and peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, peanut butter.
In LA County, you either get bologna or peanut butter and jelly. I remember one time I was locked up at one of the substations right here in Orange County, and they gave me a choice. The choice was, do you want a breakfast sandwich from Jack in the Box, or do you want a hamburger? And I was like, what? I get a choice? And they're like, do you want fries? And I was like, this shit is dope. I was like, man, because every time I got locked up in LA, man, I got a half frozen burrito, or they were like, we don't have any food today. And it was in county jail. That's all you get. Bologna, you get 2 cold meals and 1 hot meal. And the 1 hot meal is usually something you don't know what it is, and you're either eating cereal for breakfast, or you're eating peanut butter and jelly, or you're eating a bologna. Bologna sandwiches all
And
the
this
time.
is every day to your whole stay. There's not much of a choice of what you eat.
And what about to keep your mind occupied and stuff? What kind of stuff can you do when you're in there?
Sleep. Especially most people that are going to first get arrested, they're coming down on some kind of drug. You'll sleep for weeks. But then after that part passes, within a couple of weeks, you get anxiety because you're in a room by yourself or sometimes with another person. And you just, nothing to do. There's nothing to do. You can't, play a game of cards. You can't. I remember tearing up the napkins, the sanitary napkin box, just to make some cards, to play a game of cards. Just making them took a lot of killing time. But there's really nothing. And sometimes if the officer on duty was nice, she'll let you out for day room, and that's when you can go take a shower. If you don't go get the shower and she don't let you out, you don't have showers. And the majority of the time they don't want to take care of it. To them they say it's like babysitting, so they don't want to let us out. The majority of the time you're in that cell, it's 23 hours a day. Come out, and if somebody messes up, it messes up for everybody. You have to go back in. No TV, nothing. Just in the rooms with the. You get used to, if you get along with the person you're housed with, you usually get used to becoming friends, and you're lucky to get a book. If you get a book, then that's the best time to pass time is a book. But if you don't get a book, you're just looking at the signal.
I think for the men in the county jail, they don't let you sleep for weeks on end. You get a day at tops, and then you have to get with the program. That's, you wake up at a certain time, you go to sleep at a certain time, you do exercise every day, you gotta make your bed, you gotta clean the pad, you gotta make sure that you're on point for everything, you know. It's just, it was funny because I lived the life that I lived because I didn't want to follow no rules, and as soon as I got incarcerated, now all of a sudden I had a new set of rules, and if I didn't follow those set of rules, I was gonna get beat up. And so, you know, they tell you where to piss, they tell you where to go to number 2, they tell you how to wash your clothes, they tell you you gotta do this, you gotta do that. You know, and it was like, dude, like, I didn't want to listen to my parents, and now I gotta listen to these people. And so, you know, and then getting put in cells, you know, she's lucky if they put her in a cell with 2 women, man. If you go to the county and you're in a day room that was made for 50 people, it has 100 and something people.
You know, because it was overcrowded there.
If you go to a cell and it's a 4-man cell, there's probably 6 men in it. If you go to a 6-man cell, there's probably 8 men in it. You know, so now you're stuck, you're cramped, you're living in these really tight quarters, man, and so you don't got nothing to do, right? Sometimes somebody has a deck of cards. If they bought one from the store, and you can play cards all day, you know. But other than that, man, I don't even remember seeing a book.
What about like the holidays?
Depressing. In the county, it's just another day. You don't even know, because you never see the light in the county. You're just in so you don't even know if it's daytime, nighttime. Just in the cell with the lights on. In prison, they'll give you a nice meal. You know, usually like a turkey, a dinner, or something like that. And they, 4th of July, I think I remember celebrating out in the yard. Everybody gets their meal, and they all sit like a picnic with watermelon. It's like they give us a little extra that way. But your family, especially if you can't afford to call home, or you don't have money to, you know, some people have money to call their family all the time. I didn't have that. I never got to talk to my kids, and I was indigent. Just, it's missing. You miss your family. Well, you miss them already, but the holidays are worse. You go through it. You go through some kind of depression, and the longer you're in there, the more holidays you miss.
I think in the county, for Thanksgiving and for Christmas you get a turkey dinner. I think I had pumpkin pie. So that's all you get in the county. That's all you know, because in the county you don't go out, you don't go nowhere, you stay in your cell, you stay in your day room. You don't get no yard time. Very rarely do you get any yard time. I think so holidays is just another day. You don't even know when it's day or when it's night.
How about the process for like getting visitors and getting a call, stuff like that, making a call?
I didn't have visitors or calls. I had one, in the county I did have 2 visits, in fact, for my kids. They have to go through a lot. I just wait for them to call my name.
Yeah.
But they'd be down there for hours before they call me out. My son says sometimes it's not even worth it for them to come back because of what they have to go through. My son said I got there like at 9 in the morning, and I wasn't seen till like about 3 o'clock. I'm just sitting there waiting for my name to be called, he said.
Same? Yeah, no, I think I only got, out of all times I got locked up, I think I only got 1 visit. And calls, well, you got somebody that'll take a collect call, you can call them, but other than that, you ain't got no money, you ain't got no action with nothing.
So like in the movies and stuff, you know how I guess they have like certain symbols or like a certain like facial tattoo and stuff like that. How did you know any indicators to like stay safe and stuff when you were there?
Follow rules. You know what's funny is I tell my bosses all the time, man, like when you get locked up, they give you the rules. They tell you, if you do this, you get boo-bopped. If you do this, you get boo-bopped. If you do this, you get boo-bopped. If you don't do this, you get boo-bopped. If you don't do this, you get... Like they tell you, right? If you urinate in the wrong urinal, you're gonna get beat up. If you go number 2 in the wrong number 2 place, you're gonna get... If you use the wrong phone, if you walk to the wrong way, you're gonna get... So when you, as soon as you get in, it's funny, right? Because as soon as you walk in the door, they have a representative waiting there, and they ask you, what are you? What do you identify? And then they pull you to the side, they show you, you know, where to use the restroom, what phones to use, what tables to sit, where you can walk from. And then they give you all the rules, so you're educated, right? But, you know, you get out of jail and they tell you, oh, you want to go to school? We'll help you pay for school. And they send you to school, but they don't tell you what anything is for. They don't tell you, you know, did you know that Long Beach State has a bowling alley that you can use? Did you know that you can go to EOPS and they'll help you with tutoring and this and that? So, you know, in there, you know what to do, right? And then you learn and to use your intuition, man. When it's about to go down, you have to be ready. They tell you, you can never be with your shoes off in case something happens.
You're a soldier in there for men. They don't have that for women. Nothing like that. It's not segregated. They put us with whoever's in there.
Yeah, there's some nights when if the big homies are bored, they'll send huilas and they'll get the little homies up and then tell them prepare for it's about to go down. And then they'll be like, nah, and then they'll go to sleep, and then they'll wake you up later. And then, you know, you're somebody, you're a soldier, you're a warrior, that's what you're there for, and that's what they teach you when you're in there. And I think they use certain languages, they use certain tattoos, they use certain cultural artifacts to tell you that this is who you are and this is why you're better than everybody else that's here. And so they, in essence, they brainwash you or they talk to you a certain way. So it's like, it's just, they give you the rules, and so you already know what to do, you already know what to look for. If something's going to go down, you already know what's going to go down.
You don't have a choice.
So tell us, you know, like your earliest memories of like your last day locked up and you know you were gonna already come out, the transition process and everything like that.
The transition?
Yeah.
October 25th, 2009 was my release date from prison. That's the only time I ever knew a date that I was going to get released. County, you don't know. They just call you up, you're out. It was the best feeling. The best feeling knowing I was going out. The process before that, you get 14 days, it's called S time. So you don't have to program, you're getting ready to leave. In that time, you got to be careful because the people who are in there longer than you, or even lifers, they try to take your time because they don't want you going home because they have to stay. I didn't believe it was, you know, who am I? They're going to mess with me, and nobody knows me. I got into 3 fights within that time, S time, because they didn't want me going home, and for no reason. And I had to defend myself. I had to be careful that If I had any marks from a fight, I didn't get called in and get reported, because you get in a fight, that adds days to your time. And if you started, that's more time. And so I had to be careful. But when that day finally came, I got released to a program, so I made sure I was going to have some place to go when I got out. And they pick you up, take you, and went straight to a program. So I didn't get out freedom out public. I had to go back to some place where I had a like 2-week blackout before I had visits. So it doesn't matter. I didn't care. As long as I was getting out of prison, I could go to a program. And that's how it was for me.
For me, it's, I was in the county both times that I was locked up, so you don't know when you're getting released. One day you just hear your number, and then you're like, what? What did I do?
Roll it up.
They tell you to roll it up, and then you know you might be getting released. So you go in, you roll it up. But for me, I remember getting out and calling my homies and being like, I need to go to the hood. Like, I'm trying to get some dope, I'm trying to get back into some action. And it was funny because my homies, both times that I got out, they came and picked me up, and I'm like, take me to the hood. And they're like, no, you need to go home and visit your family. And I was like, I don't want to visit them. I want to go to the hood. I've been locked up for a little while now, man. Like, take me to the hood, man. And they're like, nope, we're going to drop you off at home. So both times, like, they took me home, and then I didn't have nothing to do, so I guess I just went home. Nobody wanted to take me to the hood.
The process of getting out, it's like 13 hours, 14 hours just to get out sometimes. Because I've been in the county a few times. Releasing from the county, it's just as bad as getting processed in. The process is slow to bring your clothes. You're stuck in a room with all kinds of people, women. I remember one room was so packed, people were sitting on the floors, every piece of the bench was taken, one urinal, or not urinal, for the women, the toilet right there, and it was just like so jam-packed, it was hot, just the body heat, and we were there 13 hours until they bring your clothes to get ready. Even when you get to clothes, you change your clothes, you still have to wait like another 4 hours. It's a long process to get out until you finally sign to get that one paper to walk out the door. And the door sometimes is so close you can see it sometimes. When you finally get out of that one room, it's like you have to get fingerprinted to make sure it's you that's getting out. And you can see that you just want to go out, but yet you're still stuck like another 4 hours. It's nerve-wracking. It's really, like, I want to get out. But they don't teach you, because I ended up back in there many times.
So tell us the journey, after being locked up, leading up to here today at Cal State Long Beach.
The program I got released to was a drug and alcohol program. Well, my story was kind of different. I had a stroke when I was in the county. I was paralyzed left side. So I went to prison in a wheelchair, paralyzed. Having to go through that in a wheelchair was humiliating. It was degrading. It was, you don't get the help that you need, that you would need if you were out here. So that made me stronger for the fact that it brought up a lot of hate, anger, just being humiliated like that, what you had to go through. I think that's what made me really determined to start walking again, doing the exercise I needed to do, doing it when I wasn't even going through therapy. I just did it until I learned how to use my left side. And I think that's what got me to walk. But when I got out, I still had health problems because I suffered a heart attack. So when I went to a program, it taught me how to re-enter society. The groups I went through, the re-entry groups, learning how to build bridges back with your family, the bridges I didn't know I burned before. I thought everybody's going, I was gone, they're going to miss me, you're back. No, it wasn't like that. There's people who didn't like, well, my family that didn't want to be around me anymore because whatever I did to them before I went to prison. And I felt the effects after that. But those classes that I was going to gave me the tools to learn how to handle it, to deal with it, until I could mend those bridges up. And so that's when I first started community college, when I was in the program. And I learned how to take the buses, learned how to get to where I needed to go without having to depend on nobody. I did it, and you earn points to go up in higher levels before you could finally get the freedom to go out on your own in the program. So you didn't need a support, a chaperone basically. And like basically teach you how to grow back up out in society. And I think that's important to have somebody there from the day you get out to teach you how, because people who've been there for a long time and get out, go back in the street, everything's changed. They could go back to who they used to be or what society used to be. There's people who don't even know how to use a cell phone that are in there now, that are getting out. People who don't even know how to use a gas pump. It's a culture shock when they get out. And that shock could make them go right back in there because they don't know how to survive out here. And I think it's important to go to a reentry program, something that's gonna get them back into society.
For me, my stints were short, so I always know how to get back, but I think it's learning how to live life not depending on the tools that I had developed on the streets. It's learning how to interact with people and not basically want to beat them up some days, right? Because there's a lot of disrespectful people. There's a lot of people that let their egos run their life, and they think they're somebody, and they treat you in certain ways just on the streets, or like learning how to distance yourself, you know, from the lifestyle, and having to find different avenues of expression, you know. And I remember my first 6 months when I decided, you know, that I was gonna get clean, I was gonna stay off drugs, and I wasn't gonna gangbang no more. You know, it was the hardest 6 months, because my big homie had got out, and he's like, you gotta come down and kick it to the hood. My other homies were calling me to come take care of this, to come do this happened. And it was all like learning like how to have new friendships where all the conversations don't involve drugs or gangbanging or beating people up. You know, those are the only conversations I ever had with anybody, man. And like just learning, and you know, one of the things is like since the age of 10, I was teaching myself how not to care. And not having to relearn how to have compassion for somebody else, how to, you know, just care enough to tell somebody if they're doing wrong, or care enough to kind of mentor people in a way and kind of help them as they come up behind where you've already been. And I think I learned all that. I go to a 12-step fellowship, and that's how I learned a lot of the stuff that I do, and that's how I think I orientated my way to a different path, and then just education and my mentors.
Tell us about the Rising Scholars Program.
So our student organization, Rising Scholars, we started it because we needed community. We needed somewhere where we, you know, like I get this thought, right? Every time I get my financial aid, I think I can buy some dope, slang the dope, and make some money, right? To a normal person, they don't understand. But to Irene or a couple of my friends, they know that sometimes that's the fear in me that doesn't believe that the money that I have is going to be enough. That they understand that sometimes it's just a criminal tendency of like, damn, I just know I'm going to make some money right now, so let me just flip this financial aid. You know, and I think having that community, or even understanding, man, that sometimes we walk around and we don't feel like we belong, right? We feel, well, what is somebody going to think of me when they find out that I was incarcerated? Right? What is somebody going to think of me when they found out that this is what I did? You know, or this is how I lived, you know, and to be around people that understand that and that accept you for that, you know, because we grew up in places where all of our homies had probation officers. So it was the norm. All of our homies were doing dope. All of our homies were gangbanging. So to us, that was the norm. And now as we come to school, right, not everybody,
All our friends are scholars.
you know, all our friends are scholars. All our friends, you know, nobody has a probation officer unless they're brand new right out of jail. But like, you know, that's not the norm for everybody. No, it's not the norm for everybody to know what it is. You know, some people do, some people don't, to go to sleep at night just hearing gunshots every night. You know, hearing the helicopter, hearing sirens, right? Some people don't live like that. And to feel like, man, like everybody knows what I did. Rising Scholars is a program, man. Like, when you come to campus as a formerly incarcerated student, there's somewhere for you to come, for you to go, and just as an institutional symbol that you belong here. You know, you belong at Long Beach State. And it doesn't matter, you know, where you've been or what you've done. And it's kind of one of the things that when you go to a 12-step meeting, you walk into a meeting where everybody understands what you've been through, and everybody has been through those similar experiences, so you can't tell somebody, oh, you don't understand. Well, I kind of do because I've been there. Or Irene understands because she's been there, you know, or Adrian understands because he's been there. And, you know, Dr. Bernal walks in the room and they look at him, you know, this PhD, you know, doctor, he understands because he's been there, you know. So I think what Rising Scholars began to do is we began to build our communities. We began to put a place where we all feel welcomed. and also at the same time being vocal and not afraid as some of the people that are part of the organization to tell our story, to show, right? Irene applied to the social work program. There's 2,000 applications in that program every year. She's one of 2,000 that got into that program. That just shows where she can come from, right? I got into a master's program that's highly coveted in counseling in Southern California, and that's to show where I come from. Dr. Bernal, like he has a doctorate, a PhD, like, you know, Adrian is getting ready to take his LSATs and he's going to start studying because he wants to be a lawyer. This is the places that we can go so we break those stereotypes, right? No longer are we, you know, I used to say, when you think of a veteran, you think of a hero. But when you think of somebody that's been formerly incarcerated, that's not what you think of. You know, you think of somebody that broke the law. You think of somebody that might not deserve another chance. But we're here to show you that we do deserve that chance.
You can trust us. We were just talking about that, being trusted again. Living that, because that's the first thing we're labeled. But Rising Scholars is not just for people who've been incarcerated. It's for the family members that have to deal with their parents who've been, you know, somebody who's systemically affected. And we welcome all. And they come in with their stories of what they went through because of their parent. And they feel the support. And these are places where they could open up, and we're not going to judge them. Mm-hmm. And even in my classes, I gave them the flyer to our event, and it was announced. And they said, well, one of the women in our classroom is going to be on, and she pointed to me. And a lot of people could see their mouth, like, what? She's been incarcerated? And I got up and I told them, this is my story, you know. And I got a lot of support from the class. Normally, before I would think, oh no, people are going to judge me. At this point right now, I got more support than I do anybody who's ever told me, oh my God, she's in our classroom. No, and a lot of people, you know, want more information and want to come. And that's the support I've been getting more and more as I open up about my story. It's not hard anymore to tell people. In fact, if I could opening my story brings somebody else that make them feel comfortable enough, who never shared or never wanted nobody to know, to bring them into our organization or just even come talk to me, then I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Rising Scholars wants a safe place for people to come. Mm-hmm. Because I think it's me and Adrian this year, are going to be the first recognized formerly incarcerated students to graduate in Cal State Long Beach. And if we're announced like that, a lot more will come out. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're trying to do, show them that there's a place here on campus for them.
Tell us about the upcoming event.
Go ahead.
So, April 23rd from, what time, 12?
12:30 the doors open.
12:30 the doors open, 1 o'clock the event starts. We're going to have Danny Trejo, Gary Taylor, and Scott Budnick. They're going to be speaking, Danny Trejo and Gary Taylor are going to be speaking on their experience in being incarcerated and life after being incarcerated. We called it Life After Death, changing the narrative on formerly incarcerated students, changing the story on formerly incarcerated students. And it was kind of something that Scott Budnick said at our last event that we had a year ago, where he talked about that through humanizing the word formerly incarcerated, we break the stereotypes. And so that's what we're beginning to do, right? And then we're going to have a roundtable discussion moderated by Dr. Bernal, and it's going to be Irene, Adrian, Danny Trejo, Gary Taylor, Scott Budnick, and myself, and we're going to be taking questions and talking to Scott about why he does the work with Anti-Recidivism Coalition, why he felt the need to found an organization like that helps people coming home and in the reentry world. So we're just getting ready to have this event to shatter some stereotypes.
Scott Budnick, for those who don't know, is the director of the Hangover movies. Producer. And he's the one who has his own, he's a founder of ARC, Anti-Recidivism Coalition. And he has helped with policies, changing laws. He only hires formerly incarcerated through this foundation that he does, organization. And he has network all up and down California, going to the prisons, speaking to people who are in prison, helping them get out. And People can volunteer there. He gets some jobs on the set. He helped somebody who was juvenile, who had 300 and some years, get out and put him to work on the set. This young boy is 25 years old now, and he's already ready to buy his own house by working on the set. So he's helping people succeed. And Gary Tyler, he was sentenced to 41 years. Well, he was sentenced to life, death penalty. He did 41 years before they found out he was wrongfully convicted. So he spent 41 years in prison before they found out he was wrongfully convicted. And he's going to speak here about his experience. And everybody knows who Danny Trejo is. And I'm going to give him he speaks for himself, just who he is and what he's done. And he's also part of the NA drug and alcohol program. I think he has 40-some years clean or something.
Recovery program.
The recovery program. He's like 40-some years clean, but he's been doing good since. And those are the people that know about us. Now they know about us even more, and are willing to do this for us.
How can people contact you?
Our emails are on the flyers, or if they need any, I have cards to pass out. If they want to know my
For our viewers?
For our viewers.
So my email is joelouish@gmail.com. Once again, that's joelouish@gmail.com.
Mine is Irene, IRENESOTELO 777 @gmail.com. And I'm more than welcome to answer anything that you guys email me.
We're also going to have, so we reached out. We're not the only ones. Like, you can't say that, oh, they're the first, they're the only, they're the this. No, we're there. There's formerly incarcerated student organizations up and down the state of California, from UC Berkeley, where there's underground scholars, to San Diego, where they have urban scholars union, and in between there's various organizations that no matter where you want to go, from whatever community college that you work, you're planning to go to, there might be somebody on that campus that's there to help integrate you into that campus and help teach you the way, so kind of learning the different resources that we have available. There's a website called Courts to College that has listed all the programs and all the student corrections to college. For all the program that has all the programs listed in the state of California for formerly incarcerated students and student organizations.
Or if you need to get a hold of us, email us and we find a connection for you. Because we're connected really closely, a close-knit student all these organizations are really close-knit. We have conferences together, we go speak at other places together, and we can connect you to just about anybody in California who need to know what college you want to go to.
I always ask my guests, where do you see yourself after retirement, and what would you like your legacy to be?
Retirement. Well, at my age, I should be already retiring, but I'm barely getting started. My dream right now is what I want to do, is what I'm going to do, is after I get my master's, I want to start helping with the community college, which I want to start at Cerritos College, helping those who are getting out of the county jails, who already have graduated with their GED or whatever it is that they graduate, get them into the community colleges, be the resource, show every resource that is available that we didn't know about when we were going to college, and even help them from to sign up through administration, take their test, even get them the FAFSA, sign them up, because a lot of them don't even know how to do that, and be that bridge from there. And then from there, when the ones who are ready to leave the college, get them do the same with the resources and get them into whatever college, help them sign up, and transfer to whatever college.
So for myself, I think I got a couple of years before I retire, so I haven't even thought that far. As soon as I graduate, man, I plan to go get still trying to make a decision if I want an EDD or a PhD. But I think for me, once I retire, man, is to have known that there is something on a community college. Currently at Rio Hondo College, we have a program called Rise Scholars, and so we work in helping formerly incarcerated students that are coming onto our campus, and I help them orient themselves, and I kind of kick game to them you know, Snoop Dogg says the game is to be sold, not told, but at Real Honda the game is told. Right? I give them, this is what you can do to succeed. This is what you can do to help yourself, man. And I wish that, you know, for a long time after I die, that there are many programs in community colleges that are not just there because they get money for it, but are there because it's the right thing to do to help people that want to change their life, help them change their life.
Does the program also have like social media pages and stuff like that?
Yes.
Yes. I think we have a Facebook. I don't do social media, but I know we have a Facebook page.
CSULB Rising Scholars for Facebook, and the same for Instagram. We have an email, it's Rising Scholars, and I forgot the name of that because I don't go on that one too much.
So, the program, how often is there like events and stuff as well?
We just had one, well, what you call it? It's not an event, but lab.
So one of the things that we're going to start doing, if this goes out to the community, is we're going to be putting on educational labs. Our next educational lab is going to be in May. We don't have a date for it yet, but you can always email us and we can give you the dates for these educational labs. But we're going to be in the community at a church, I think it's called The Gathering. And we're going to be at that church, and we're going to be in the community, and we're going to be helping people who feel that they want to go to school or they want to get their GED. We're going to help connect them to GED, places where to take GEDs. We're going to help them go through the most difficult part of coming to school, which is learning how to fill out the FAFSA and learning how to apply for college. And we're going to sit there with them, and we're going to give them the tools that they need to succeed. We're going to tell them this is how you fill out your college application, this is how you fill out the FAFSA. And then depending on where they come from in the community, then we're going to look up those community colleges, and we're going to let them know what types of programs those community colleges have that they qualify for, so that they already know what resources are on those campuses. I think as for Rising Scholars event, we try to have at least one event once a semester on campus, and then we're going to have the educational labs at least once a month, probably for the next year.
I know that, you know, sometimes people can be intimidated by the fact that, like, you know, I think they say that the FAFSA pretty much, yeah, they cover the BA, but not further than the BA. Like, what do you have to say to, like, students who, you know, they're not sure yet, you know, can they afford going to the master's?
So one of the things that my wife, as she's in school right now, and that her professor told her, is that people are willing to take a loan out to get a car, which is going to depreciate in value. But people are never willing to take a loan out to invest in their education, which is basically investing in yourself. And I feel for myself, man, once you come to Long Beach or whatever school you go to, there's fellowships, there's grants, there's scholarships that you can apply to. But if you look at it, man, for myself, as I've been taking loans since my bachelor's program, it was an investment in myself. It's been an investment that has been paying off just for me and my family. And so a lot of people will see it. It depends. If you're going to get one of those master's degrees that is so obscure that there's no jobs out there for it, then you might want to think about that again. But if you're going to get a master's degree where there's work, but you need a master's degree to have that work, but you need to take a loan to have that work, then it might be an investment in yourself so that you can succeed. And so I think in just viewing it like that.
I have Department of Rehabilitation helping me through my education. They started helping me with the community college. They pay for your books, transportation, they give you money for transportation. They said they only go to the AA. Then I was told, no, if you make your case, they'll pay for more. So then I got to do it for my bachelor's. I ran out of financial aid. I got to here. I think it was my second semester. They cover whatever is not covered after the state university grant. They pay for parking, they pay for my books, they pay for anything else that I need, like certain tests that have to be done, they pay for that. And so they said, well, that's where they stop. And then I was told again, no, they can go to the master's. If you need the master's, they'll pay. I made my case, now they pay for my master's, the whole thing, because I don't have enough money to cover it. And I just got approved for the master's. So there are resources out there. And those are the resources that we'll be telling these ones who are coming in. They qualify for these. And I've had scholarships also. I applied for whatever scholarship I thought, and I've gotten them. It's just finding the ones I want to apply for or forgetting to. Is you're so busy you forget to apply. But every one that I've applied for, I've gotten.
In today's society, we always hear that, it's always important to know multiple languages. Tell us about the importance of being bilingual.
It's very important, especially knowing Spanish because of the population. Job offers, and people coming into school, helping them, as much as we can. I don't speak it perfectly, but I know enough to get around. And I've helped out plenty of people who don't even know English. And that gives me gratification there, knowing that I helped somebody who was lost out here and doesn't know how to get from A to B.
I think I've heard, the more languages you know, the more valuable you are. That having that education of knowing how to translate, because some jobs, they'll come to specific, in specific areas that carry different cultures that, those languages, different languages are spoken, so you might need to speak that language in order to get that job.
Some students, they'll go to class and go straight home, but tell us the advantages, the benefits of, getting involved on campus.
So, as a major in student development and higher education, there are many theories that validate the research that's been done on those students that are most invested in school are the ones that are most likely to succeed. Those students that come, participate in clubs, that are in student organizations, that do debate teams, that visit office hours, that just come spend time on students, those are the students that are most likely to succeed because those are the students that invest most of their time in their education. And for me, being a part of this club and this student organization, led me to have a network from San Diego to California. I already had a network from my 12-step fellowship down in San Diego, across the United States, but this student organization and the network that I was developed of is a totally different network, and because of being a part of school and being in office hours, I also developed a network of educators, mentors. And then they've introduced me, the job I have at Rio Hondo College is because my mentor introduced me to her mentor. But if I wasn't involved in school and I never talked to her and I never did nothing to her, she would have never shot me these opportunities where I would have met her mentor and her mentor would have, helped me apply for a job. So I think it's really important.
And networking.
Most would say that midterms and finals is the most stressful time of a student. What strategies do you have or tips?
Get a study buddy. Work with somebody who's going through your same classes. Always find somebody in your class that that will understand this. Whatever I don't understand what the teacher's talking about, they could elaborate better for me, because sometimes you even ask the teacher and you're still not getting it. And in fact, I'm going through that this semester. This is my hardest semester. I only have 2 classes. I've always been full-time, 4 or 5 classes, and this is my hardest semester. And I thought, well, maybe it was me at first, because I traveled to New York right in the beginning of the semester to go speak at Columbia University. And that my mind was all that, so my first test I wasn't paying attention to it. As I find out, no, it's not that. It's because the teacher who is giving the test, I'm having a hard time understanding how she writes her test. And it's not just me. And I've been trying, I do it different ways, I've asked her different ways. I go to her as much as I can because it's important I pass these 2 classes. And I finally went up to her and told her, I don't know why, I don't know if it's me, I don't know why I can't get your test. Apparently the whole class has already been up to her. So today I have a test with her right now, and see how I do. But my papers are A's, everything's A's, except her test. And I speak with as many people as I can who are taking her test. I try to make sure that I'm on the right page with them. I know I got this. Did you get it this way? And yeah, we got it. So we're on point with each other. When it comes to taking the test, it's a whole different story. So, but every teacher before that, I've been really good with. The pressure of taking the test, we haven't been so bad. Not compared to how I first started taking. I guess I learned how to take tests. I learned how to manage my time to do the test. And last year was a good test of that. Tested me on, do I really know how to do my test taking? I had a heart attack November 19th. I was put in the hospital a whole month right before finals. I came out 3 days before finals. I had, because I go to the disability office to take my test. Well, I had already scheduled appointments to take my test. I went to take 2 finals. I ended up passing both finals with 100% in each one. So I know I could do it. It's my determination, my mindset on how I go in about taking the test is what helps me.
I think I've only had 1 class with tests since I ever started this master's program, so it's just a bunch of papers.
That's what I'm dreading.
And I can write, so papers ain't hard for me. I think for me the most stressful portion of this is I'm gonna write a thesis. And so for me it's writing that thesis because it's something that I've never experienced or don't understand, but I'm very resourceful and I'm gonna find a way and it's gonna get done.
You know, I always say it, you know, you never know who could be watching the show, and chances are, because what I do for my particular show, obviously the theme is, it's like a biography show. I always have a different guest, and sometimes they're from a different career field or a student from a different, you know, major that they're pursuing. And chances are there's a particular person right now who's watching this, and they're listening to what the guest has been saying. They're like, wow, I totally relate to this individual. Like, you know, this is exactly, you know, the path that I want to follow. You know, what tips do you have for those people?
Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to let someone mentor you. Stay ready. Sugar Free says if you stay ready, you don't gotta get ready. You remember, man, like it's about the hustle, it's about the grind, it's about nothing in life is gonna be handed to you, man. And if it is, you better work really hard to make sure that you show that you deserve that chance, man. That you know, because there's gonna be a lot of haters, there's gonna be a lot of doubters, there's gonna be a lot of people that are oh, just because of this they did that. Just because of this, they did that, or just because so-and-so likes them, they did that, or because so-and-so is their friend, they did that, man. But you know what, man? Your work ethic should show. Right? Your work ethic should show. And I think, man, it's just about doing work. Just do work, man. Like, don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. Don't be afraid. Right? Stay humble. Right? Humility, man. Like, don't ever get to a place where you feel that things are beneath you. Right? Because then that's when, in my essence, man, you're really lost. You know, stay humble, man. Don't get to a place where you feel that you're better than anybody, or that the title makes you better than anybody. Always be willing to reach that hand out, man, because there was always somebody there to reach a hand out to you.
Know your resources. Find out if there's something you're not sure of. Find out. Network with the people you want to be working with. And everybody's approachable. They either can say yes or say no. If they want to talk to you, they don't have to. And it doesn't hurt to do it. Just take that chance to do it. Don't be nervous.
Well, I want to thank you guys for taking the time to be here on the Golden Spotlight here on 22 West Radio.
Thank you.
Thank you.